This show continues to be so special. Sweet Magnolias endears itself so deeply into the heart of, or has endeared itself so deeply into the heart of the fandom. And I really see people, of course, wanting happiness for each of the characters. And this season, it looks like it's a bit tumultuous again for Helen. We find her at odds with her heart. Is there anything else that causes a little trouble for Helen this season?
Oh gosh, poor Helen. I think she does have a tumultuous season. It's I think it starts, if we can use punctuation marks. Season two ended with a big question mark. What is she gonna do? Will she, will she, will she? And so it starts off with this question mark. I think to the point that there's an exclamation, hard earned. And I think she's got some awful times with maybe the girls and what goes on there, and of course with her choices. I don't think there are a lot of fans that are going to be happy maybe with the way it starts off. But you know, and then I think Helen gets to the point by the end of the season where it's a period, but even a period with a question mark as to what will happen. But I
That's
do
such a
think,
good
Jamie,
teaser.
I think so. I think it's a period dot 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 question mark. So, but I think within the period, it's her picking herself and picking her community and picking her friendships. And being surrendered to, okay, this is a choice I made, and I've seen it through and I'm good with that. And then there's a dot dot dot, but I wonder what might happen. I think that's going to be the question mark for the show and for all the fans and everything like that. But it is a tumultuous season. But truth be told, Jamie, I would have it no other way, because I like to go to work and work. And I hate calling it work. I don't call it work, but I like to go to the set and have something to think about at night, something to kind of wake me up in the middle of the night and say to myself, well, what is that? You know what I mean? So yeah, it's quite a she's got quite a journey this season.
I mean, she seems quite torn at the heartstrings from so many different angles. So I'm looking forward to fans getting to see the depth and as far as where she'll struggle, whether it's with her romantic life, whether it's a heart tug for her community, whether it's a heart tug for her friendships. This is such a special series, as I've touched on, and so many people I feel like really invest in these characters because that friendship emotes off the screen. Is that what you've been hearing as well from the fans? That the three of you, well, you form this, the four of you, I should say, form this on-screen bond that really just gives you so much depth and so much light as far as what you want your BFF to be, or maybe even you have this friendship in your own life already, where it's I'm all in forever and a day, as they say, in Sweet
Yeah.
Magnolias.
Well, I think that's the truth, right? That should be our motto, forever and a day. Because I do think that it, like for me personally, it made me question, who is your Magnolia in your life, Heather? What do you have, who is Heather's Magnolia? That girl that you come to for everything, that girl that you can go to once a week. I love the fact that they make time for each other once a week to just literally, no pun intended, pour it out. Just speak. Just get it out. And I think as women, we need that. We need a time to just literally kind of vomit it out and just say, this is what I'm going through. And to have a smart, intelligent, um, responsible person on the other side who holds you accountable, who sometimes has to say, I think you're wrong in that situation, or this is great, or I got your back. All the time I'll have your back, but I think you're wrong, but I still have your back. You know what I mean? And so I love the fact that the fans, women and men, have been able to see themselves in these characters, because now the men kind of have their own oak. I call them the oaks. They have their oak
They do. I
gathering.
mean, that baseball field scene, you can't.
Yes, yes, the baseball and the basketball, they've got their gathering, and people need to talk. And I think within our world today, we live so far apart from each other now that we don't get together to say, let's just sit down over some food and let's just talk and get stuff out. So I love that. I love that the fans want the best for these characters. Like I can't even tell you how many times people are like, I'm Team Eric, I'm Team Eric, I'm Team Eric. And then one person, I'm Team Ryan, I'm Team Eric, and you're just like, okay. And but they want the best for them. They want the best for Maddie. They want the best for Dana Sue. And I love that. But I think one of the things that did draw me to the show is this beautiful friendship that these women have, and the fact that they have held each other together for all these years. You know what I mean? Since childhood, and that it spans over. There's no talk of race. There's no talk of money. There's no talk of class, of who's got more than who, or there's a competitive nature. It's none of that. And sometimes we have that within our, you know what I mean, within our friendships.
Yes,
But
within
oh,
our
you've
female
done
friendships especially, sometimes it gets
right
competitive.
all the time. And these women have figured out where that lane ends, and they're good for each other. You know what I mean? I'm a mommy and I'm going through a divorce. I'm with you. You have no, you make money. You're a lawyer. You have no, it's just a beautiful thing. And I love the fact that the writers have dealt with what they go through in their lives, and not the superficial, not the stuff on the surface, you know, and they love each other just for who they are. And it's a beautiful thing. So I think we all, as women, and as I said, as men too, you just are like, I want to find that magnolia as I get older in my life, and my friendships, you know, they start getting a little, you're like, I want that girl who is going
Yes.
to be with me till I'm 70. And she's like, I know all your secrets and I got your back, and I will let you know when you're wrong, and I will celebrate you when you're right. And I'm with you to death. Yeah, she's a magnolia. She stands firm. I love it.
The writing we talked about is exceptional with this series. And I think that every episode rocks your world. It breaks your heart. It maybe heals your heart a little bit, but also there's humor, there's love, there's so many different facets to it. Coming into this particular season, is there an episode that you really want fans to maybe stop and give a harder look at, or maybe one that really is something you cherish personally?
Ooh, I had some tough ones this season. Well, the spoiler, I think that first episode, well, first and second episodes when, she's having conversations with Eric, those are not fun. But I would hope that the fans would listen closely and understand why she makes the decision before they all come after me. And hopefully they don't come after me, go after Cheryl Anderson and her writers. I just read and acted what I was told. so so I think that's it. I hope they in the middle there are two ugly ones that come in again, with the girls, and maybe with Ryan, and those were, I think Helen has a lot of moments, but I also love her moments in the end where she kind of is resolute in, here's life and this is what life's about. I found myself, because the funny part about this is that when we're doing our work, we don't necessarily get to see. We read through the script together, but we don't see everybody else's work. So I see it when I sit in my house and I'm watching through the show, and I'm like, oh, they did that. Oh, they might have, oh my gosh, I didn't, you know what I mean? Because all of a sudden it's on his feet. I forgot that Annie got in a car accident. I was like, this Annie, I'm gonna get her, all this kind of stuff. And so I have loved watching Dana Sue and Ronnie just kind of fall for each other again. I've loved seeing Maddie's growth, with Cal. Ty and Annie, I'm gonna have to move Ty into my house. That's what I've decided, that he's gonna have to come live with me in CC so I can see him every day because I have a little crush on him. And I think he's 18, so I love him. That's all I've been telling everybody. I think I love him. And so because I love his growth as well, because a lot of kids are going through that. Should I go to college? Should I take a gap year? What am I doing? So yeah, I think there's a lot of good meat in the season that people have that they can, tie onto and hold on to.
What has it meant to you to be a part of such a well received, a well appreciated series? Sweet Magnolias, as we've touched on, is for everyone.
Can I just tell you this? And first, let me answer that first part. I am incredibly blessed, incredibly humbled, and incredibly surprised every time that the show comes out and it just hits number one. Yeah, all the time. When I first got the script, I was 9 months pregnant, 9 months pregnant. And I remember I got it and I remember reading through it and like, this is great. Like I would do it, but at the time, because I was 9 months pregnant and could not sleep and then had the baby, I had watched everything on Netflix. And so I knew that the big shows, you know, either you had a drug den in your basement, Breaking Bad, or you were the queen, the crown, they were dragons, or you were House of Cards, or something like that. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I read through the script and I was like, well, it's not really a lot of that. And so I remember saying, like, well, I don't think people will like it that much. I think, my husband said, he said, no, I think people are going to love it because there's a place for it. People want they just want a story. They just want to see life because they're going through life. And then COVID hit, and then we were going through life, and I think when I remember seeing, I thought maybe it would be number 10 or something. It would kind of dip into the top 10 and, go out, and I'd have to call people and be like, can you sit in front of your TV and watch a show or whatever. And I remember seeing it go from 10 to like 5 and 2, and then it just sat at 1, and every morning I would wake up and look, and I was like, it's back there again. And so for me, I think I needed to apologize to all the world, to America, to every country that saw it. Because in my head, I thought, oh no, you're going to like a show about 3 women, that are in their 40s that come together and just talk about life. And the world said, yes, that's exactly what we want. And so I am incredibly blessed to be a part of it, incredibly honored to be a part of it. Happy to be a member of Netflix, and happy to be with this cast to do it, because it's not just us, it's just this whole group, that bring it to life. And I'm grateful, so grateful to every fan who sits and watches it. People who stuck me in Dunkin' Donuts in the Ozarks and are like, "Are you Helen?" And I'm like, yeah. So I'm overwhelmed